That Katt Williams interview with Joe Rogan, it was interesting but a little lackluster. We're going to get into why. And it has a lot to do with something that Dave Chappelle actually alluded to with all the crazy stuff that's going on, Illuminati and all the stuff that they talk about. He went after black people, called them out by name. Dave Chappelle said he never called out not one of these white boys. That's what Dave Chappelle said. Well, he went on Joe Rogan. If you're like me, you're under the impression that Katt Williams will kind of stay on the same wavelength that he was on with the Shannon Sharpe interview. But that didn't exactly happen. He did something different. And we're going to break down the differences in how he conducted himself on a major black media platform versus how he conducted himself on a major white media platform. I'm going to make a lot of black people mad today. But strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Where's my intro? Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. I pushed the wrong button. Hold on. All right. Now, let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
We've done so much with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything with the nothing. Those are the words of Machismo TV. Make sure you go and subscribe. And I don't have any links in the chat room for y'all to get to that right now. My main moderator isn't here, but we will get that link circulating in the chat room to Machismo TV. But yes, we're about to get into it. Shout out to everybody in the building right now. I do see a comment right now already that I do indeed have to address already. I'm going to put the link in the chat relatively early. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Hood Conservative down there. I gotta get to a few things. Let's go, but hold on. Let me I gotta figure out how to pin something to the top of the chat. There's Machismo TV. I got to figure out how to pin that to the top of the chat. I don't know what I'm doing. But shout out to everybody in the building. Deacon Dave in the building. Shout out to you. Shout out to Ricky Clover. I'm not even going to mention why those names on the screen matter to me. Anybody who knows me that's going to see this, they're going to know something is funny about your name. I guess an inside joke for people that know me in real life. But make me wonder, do I know you in real life? Do we know each other? I don't know. Anyway, he mentioned Gary Owens not getting accepted by the mainstream media on Shannon Sharp. That's not calling somebody out by name. That's saying that's speaking favorably of somebody. If you're talking about them not being accepted by the mainstream media, what do you do? So what are you talking about? And said in the Joe Rogan interview, lame comedian said in Joe Rogan interview, Joe Rogan interview lame comedians. Joe Rogan and Katt Williams was speaking generally about comedians and how many actual good working comedians it is that are decent, who you would like to hang out with and talk to and have fun with, and yeah, and he's that no, you're being disingenuous. They were just, him and Joe Rogan was generally talking about how a lot of comedians are lame and not that good. That's not the same thing. That is not the same thing. It says, what am I talking about? Well, we're going to get into what I'm talking about because I listened to the full Shannon Sharp interview. I listened to the full Joe Rogan interview. It is no way you can deny to me that it wasn't a similar, that it was a completely different experience in the Joe Rogan experience. There's no way you could deny that simple point. The way that he did a full-blown aggressive takedown of any and anybody black in Hollywood, or as Dave Chappelle said, Dave Chappelle was like, I'm at war with the Illuminati too, but Cedric the Entertainer, that's the battleground you fight on. No, I don't think y'all could deny that. When you look at the whole pantheon of everybody who's doing all the controlling in the media that he's talking about, those are white men at the helm that are doing that controlling. He called out every black person who he deemed to be controlled. You go on a big major white platform, it's like your whole tone change. You're not calling out the controllers, or it's like it should make you think. They went on there and they had, I don't want to diss it because it was fun to listen to, but it was like a really highbrow pothead conversation. That's what he did on Joe Rogan. It was a really highbrow pothead conversation. I'm going to play some of the highlights of it. But he said Katt Williams definitely didn't have the same energy on Joe Rogan. Thank you. Anybody can see that. Anybody can see that. I'm going to roll it pretty soon. Shout out to Hood Servative. My Saturday's opening back up. I said I was going to hit you up earlier. About a few weeks ago, about seeing if you want to get the Saturdays back rolling. Because my Saturdays is my Saturday live streaming is getting back available. So yeah, so I definitely got to hit you up. Hood Servative in here, he says, I didn't like this new white people friendly Katt. Thank you. I knew you was gonna go with me. I didn't like this new white people friendly Katt Williams. Tell some jokes or something. Like, yes. He said it was annoying. I was entertained by some of it. I roll my eyes when people get to talking about the ancient aliens and aliens built the pyramids and all of that stuff. I roll my eyes and get a little annoyed by all of that. But it was fun. But here he is. He's a people champ. He's calling out the industry. He's calling out Hollywood. He's calling out this. He's calling out that. He's calling out the Illuminati powers to be and everything. But and doing, when it comes to black people, he do it by names. White people, it was different. Let me shout out a few more people. Subscribe to Machismo TV. I'm gonna pin that one to the top of the chat when I get around to it. He said Katt did call out Harvey Weinstein years before. That doesn't matter. We're talking about his interview momentum that he's on right now. He like the biggest thing in comedy right now, the biggest thing on the internet. He got that big. He broke the internet a very specific way. I'm not saying he has to do that every single time that he touch a microphone, but it's interesting. It's interesting to think that somebody went in that hard. went in that hard on black comedians, it bolsters my point that he wasn't taking a shot at any bigger, greater cause. He wasn't exposing nothing big and great that we all needed to see and needed to understand. He was taking shots at his black entertainment industry competitors. Nothing more, nothing less. I caught that. In the way that this one went, it sort of more or less reflected that. It more or less reflected that. Let me get to a few more before I get into it. He says Katt was on some multiverse stuff. Yeah, he was on some other stuff. It's all good though. But Jamar Roulette in the building, Hood Conservative once again. He says maybe it was the alcohol. They was drinking heavily. No, they was smoking heavily. That boy was high. They were smoking that good stuff. He said, you have a choice in being controlled, brother. Thank you. Thank you. I choose not to be controlled. I'm personally going against the grain right now as we speak. He's called out controllers before. Now it's time to tell his people they don't have to buy into the control system. That's an interesting take. That's an interesting take. I respect it. I will respond to it, but I got to get into where I'm going. He called him out on Shannon Sharp. Okay. All right. I'm talking about the Joe Rogan experience. I'm talking about the Joe Rogan experience and what went on there. But all right. Let's get into it. Let me find something to put up here on the screen. I guess I'll put my Cash App down there on the ticker. Oh, I need to put a damn fair use sign up because Joe Rogan people about to come for me something vicious. Hold on. Joe Rogan's people about to come for me something vicious. You know, you can't really play Joe Rogan stuff. This stream might not make it to the end, but we gonna lean with it and rock with it. Let me put the Cash App right there, put the ticker right there. All right, now we rolling. All right, let's get into it. I see what I'm talking about. I lay out my case. I'm put the link in the chat early. Put the link in the chat early on this one. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on, but I am about to touch on this one. Well, let me get into it a little bit before I put the link in there. But I'm put the link in so people can debate me on this because, like, as soon as I saw the whole thing on Club Shay Shay, it was entertaining, it was fun, but I wasn't impressed to the point to where I didn't feel like a black person just gave us the anecdote of the knowledge of good and evil, the tree of logic. I mean, not tree of logic. That's a YouTuber. The tree of knowledge. Like people felt like they drunk from the drunk from the waterfall of knowledge and understanding of how the world works. I was like, no, this is just a dude clapping back, hating on his competitors who he had beef with, and that's all I heard there. And accusing other people of taking, trying not to mess up the algo, taking dinglings up the wazoo. That's pretty much what I mean. That's all I heard. But all right, there were some aspects of this conversation that was pretty good. That was pretty entertaining. We're going to break down several parts of it. So let's strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. But it was a completely different tonal change in how he operated and how he got down. Outspoken introvert said he still haven't watched it. Good. You can watch some of it here. It's a long, tedious interview. I'll try to highlight some of the good parts, but it wasn't that many good parts unless you like some mystical highbrow pothead conversations. Damn it, I got notes. Well, okay, yeah, 17-minute and 48-second mark. Let's go.
And as far right.
Yep.
It's
hold on.
You know, the middleness of it all that makes America. Extremes.
Yeah.
Extreme anything.
Yeah.
Extreme left is as vicious and as far right.
Yep.
It's, you know, the middleness of it all that makes America great. And
For
Texas
sure.
has been front and center of that forever.
I think a big part of it, though, is how much does your government control you? Even when things don't even make sense. Like in California, they made flavored vapes illegal. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Like, strawberry mist is our number one
That was
problem.
fine, but they let it also hurt black people in that it counted menthol as a flavor and hurt Newports.
So you can't sell menthol cigarettes in California.
Right. They have their own cigarettes.
is
They have
wild.
non-menthol Newports. It's terrible.
Why do black people like menthol so much? What's that about?
This is the part that was on the internet. This part, I don't even remember why I clipped this part, but this part wasn't that interesting. They asked him a question about menthol. This is the part that black people clipped because this was one of the few times he talked about black people, so they made a clip to something about menthol cigarettes. That part isn't personally not that interesting. I actually didn't mean to clip that. Let me slide it forward. That's the part y'all saw. I don't want to play the parts that y'all saw because I know y'all probably saw that on the internet where he gave some answer. Black people, they like they like product or things that are in high intensity, high concentration, or a strong dosage. we don't like light stuff. We like it to hit hard.
We got a dude right now that's telling you front and center that I put a computer in somebody's head. Like,
ID.
Back up.
A digital ID will be attached. I'm gonna make it. Well, there's a lot of people that if the government can make life easy, a lot of people have it hard, right? So the government comes in and says, I'm gonna make it easier for you, but I'm gonna need certain requirements of you. I'm gonna need you to have a digital ID. That digital ID will be attached to a social credit score. And we're going to give you universal basic income. You no longer have to worry about food or shelter. You'll be taken care of. And now you can pursue your dreams.
Is this the mark of the beast you're speaking of, sir?
I think it is.
Right. That's the whole thing, is it's never been difficult at any point in history. Like we got a dude right now.
See, they were starting out talking about electronic cars before they got into this, and the way that they, the electronic cars, they'll be able to track everything. And the way that it'll be easier to track, like, for example, somebody steals your car, if you got everything digitally in you and on you and connected to the car, we'll be able to easily do all of this. And then Katt Williams, again, it's like I said, high level, highbrow, pop head conversation, because they're saying, and they see, and that's how they're going to implement the mark of the beast. Even though in the Bible, they never said nothing about no microchips. You got to have somewhat of an imagination to say that. In mark of the beast, they talk about a tattoo on the forehead, right? Literally right in tattooing 666 on your forehead. They are taking that and extrapolating it forward after a few hits of weed to, what they really meant was microchips in your, like that. That's what they was talking about.
Now that's telling you front and center that I put in history.
I think it is.
Right. That's the whole thing, is it's never been difficult at any point in history. Like we got a dude right now that's telling you front and center that I put a computer in somebody's head, guys.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And everybody's going, yay.
It's the greatest thing in the world, sir.
Yeah.
But we understood this 15, 20, 25 years ago. We understood while watching Tron or while watching Cyborg, we understood that there was just this small line medically that needed to be crossed in order for us to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
Like if you can hook a battery up to an octopus and make it go like this, you're halfway there.
Yeah.
Why?
Highbrow pothead conversation. I'm not trying to say these men are not intelligent. I'm not trying to say that. They are two intelligent men who are talking like they had some pot. That's what's going on here. It's going to be a lot of that. You're going to be hearing a lot of stuff like that. He said the movie Tron and all kind of other stuff that we've seen in media and entertainment. That stuff is the stuff that's telling us what they're really trying to do behind the scenes. What's really going on. Again, like it's weird, and it's like somebody pointed out in the chat room, it was a completely different energy. It was like a different Katt Williams. He came on a crusade to go after black comedians. Created like what's not now, we got like a whole genre where like all the black comedians are gang banging right now because of Katt Williams. Like that's the game. Black comedians are gang banging. They pulling up on each other. They pulling up on each other when other people on stage. They walking on stage while the other comedian up there. They going on their podcast saying this dude ain't this, this dude ain't that. He ain't hitting no nut. He ain't funny. He shouldn't be selling out like me. We gonna ride on that like. He started a black comedian East Coast West Coast war from like the 90s, like 90s hip hop. Katt Williams went on Club Shay Shay and did that. You go on a bigger white podcast who Club Shay Shay's interview, the only one that really can compete with interviews that Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan only has 2 interviews that got more views than what Katt Williams got on Club Shay Shay. So of course Joe Rogan like, hey, I got to get a piece of this Katt Williams stuff. Now he went on there and, after starting to comedic gang banging, after getting all of that going on, then he go over here. He didn't exactly. Okay, I don't want to say he didn't have access, like Joe Rogan would not have brought him on if it wasn't for the Shannon Sharp interview. But he was like super controversial on Shannon Sharp, got big, and then it's like now, once he got big like that, once he called out all his competitors, he got bigger, and then I have no doubt that there are major white media platforms, publications, if not, film industry people that are reaching out to him. And so I wonder, did he call out everybody, all his competitors in the industry to get big off of that, to get in the industry, and then more or less, I'm not saying he's going to do everything today. I'm not saying he's about to put on a dress. No, Katt Williams ain't going to do that. But now that I've done this controversial stuff to get big, now I'm going to get big and then tone it down and get that bag that I was criticizing everybody else for getting. Like, I know Katt Williams is a people's champ, but forgive me for seeing the play. Forgive me for seeing the play. I thought he was going to get on here and have the same energy and do more or less what Dave Chappelle said. There's plenty of white people that need to get called out. You just took a crap on our own people. I thought it was going to be some serious calling out going on. Probably wrong to just hold him to that. You did it there. You got to do it everywhere, but there is a difference taking place.
Because this is a machine that we have.
It's a biological machine.
Right. And once you understand it, you understand it.
Yeah. And you can fuck with that machine. You can juice it up. You can fucking get it stronger, get it smarter. You can do a lot of things with that machine.
This is what the Anunnaki said. Yeah. This is how you know that these are not made up things from people's imagination, because everything is too factual. Like this necklace, right?
Dwayne Garrett, you don't got to be out. You can pull up. I'll put the link in the chat. Somebody disagree with my general points that I'm making here. I'll put the link in the chat for people. I know it's going to be disagreements. So that's a part of who he is. I know exactly what you mean by that. The outspoken introvert. I love that name. Said he already played a Zesty in First Sunday. Did he? No, I don't think he. No. Oh, damn. He did play the choir director. I don't think that character was. No, we're not going to do that. I don't think that character was gay. We're not going to do that. And the thing is, I'm not even one to trip that hard. But, well, I mean, if you play a full-blown, I couldn't play a full-blown gay character. But I give creative I give, creative, I forgot what's the word I'm looking for. But I know I give people room to be creative. I was watching the Terry Crews interview on Club Shay Shay, and he was talking about white chicks and the whole experience and how he got that job and everything. And so I started watching some clips of White Chicks, and I didn't personally think White Chicks was a good movie, not from some political stands or black men shouldn't be dressing up like white women and wearing dresses and whatnot. No, it wasn't even from that. I just personally didn't think the movie was that funny. I'll probably go back and give it another watch. But there's some creative liberties, I think that's the word I may have went on, where, people can do that. People can come up with some type of comedic art creative license. Yes, okay, thank you. Y'all helping me. You can technically do that. All right? I mean, I'm not tripping. It looked bad if somebody who's just super masculine puts on a dress. Like if I see Ice Cube in a dress, I know something ain't right. But if you're a wacky comedian like Marlon Wayans dressing up like a white chick for a movie where you were a black man who had to go undercover for a sorority to bust somebody or something, I get the comedy in that. It just wasn't personally funny to me. So I'm not even the he wore a dress police. I'm not that dude. I let wacky comedians be wacky and do what they do. But if you saying that Katt Williams was zesty in First Sunday, that's one I gotta guess rewatch. But I do know he played the damn choir director. I'm not gonna sit there and say that man was zesty. He was. I got to rewatch it. I had to rewatch it with fresh eyes.
Right.
People online were like, yeah, is that Buddhist or that's this or that? It's none of that. Like I just try to find the answers to things. So
Is that a ship wheel?
I designed this because this.
Oh my God, this is the most pothead part of the whole thing. Hold on.
Just try to find the answers to things. So
Is that a ship wheel?
I designed this because this is that thing that you see that all the Anunnaki guys that have that look like a wristwatch, and they always have it, and you're always trying to see what that is.
Yeah, what is that?
It is a time, and it's a compass. It's a timekeeping compass.
That's what that is?
Yeah. So that's what made the carrier of great importance, because he was able to do things that were magical in nature, like go somewhere and get right back. Like, you know what I mean?
So, yeah,
like
that thing on the wrist was
They're talking about technology that didn't exist thousands of years ago. He's making the case that they had all of that technology. Like, we think all the stuff that we own right now is new, but he's saying they understood, they understood, magnetism and all kinds of stuff, That's essentially what he's saying. That thousands of years ago, they actually understood all of this stuff, and they was doing stuff above and beyond what we was doing. It's where it gets into some ancient alien type stuff, how people came or beings came from on high and shared, technology and wisdom, and people had it back then, and it got erased, and here we are scrambling trying to build it back up. That's what they're on in it. Like, and again, pothead conversation.
the compass?
a timekeeping
Compass.
Yeah. Right. So you had to believe in things that didn't exist at some point, like magnetics and distance and
Right.
probabilities and
Right.
that's how, like,
They had a magical watch that allowed them to practically, I don't know if he's saying time travel or travel at speeds in which we be traveling at today. I think that's more or less what he's saying. That stuff exists. Now, I know he's been on this type of thing. If you ever watched his stand-up, it came out in December 31st, 2011. It was called Catpocalypse. It was when everybody thought the world was going to end in 2012. In fact, it was a movie called 2012. The polar ice caps shifted and everything. It basically was like a Noah's Ark movie. Yeah, Katt Williams was in the world about to end camp. It didn't. We still here. But yeah, when you're on that kind of stuff, you believe the belief that it was some ancient wisdom that was above and beyond what we could know and understand, and not just wisdom and knowledge, because I do think they had some wisdom and knowledge of things of nature. They didn't have all the distractions that we had. I think they were just as intelligent. They just didn't necessarily know a lot of the things that we know, because information gets passed down and information is accelerating at an exponential rate right now. So they had the same brains that we had. They just didn't experience everything that we experienced. And so that put them in a position where they're sitting there thousands of years ago with the same brain, but without all the distractions. So it was a lot of things about nature that they could figure out and understand. And they came, the math that we break our brain trying to do in high school and college, it was brilliant people years ago who was inventing all of that math. I mean, well, I told the story. Isaac Newton invented calculus, trying to figure out the rotation of the planets and all of that stuff. He had to invent math to figure, so he can explain what he was observing. He had to invent calculus. So yes, people were inventing a lot of stuff back then. But if they're trying to say that people back then had damn near space technology, it's like, no, there's no evidence of that.
if you were to read like thousands of books about people that knew a bunch of shit. Like you start finding out that it's not really about knowing anything. It's about where to go to get the information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so like when we look at all the ruins all around the world, like we're not seeing ruins of colleges and universities and all of that. We're seeing temples and synagogues and churches, and but people don't understand that.
Pay Mail says modern history only goes back 10,000 years, so modern humans have been on Earth around 200K, so it's possible. But yes, the thing is that if they had all of that, it would be harder evidence, more harder concrete evidence to show that they had all that and could do all that. All the evidence shown that they were living really hard lives in small groups, hunting and gathering and killing each other and getting ate alive by wild animals and figuring out ways to kill the animals before they get ate by the animals. Most women, well, probably half of women died during childbirth. The life expectancy was like roughly 22 years old by some estimations. I mean, it's they wouldn't live in high on the hog like that. Now, what's interesting is like every generations have their Einstein. Like I'm sure there was an Einstein of the day back then who I'm sure was figuring out all kinds of stuff. Probably got lost in history or lost in prehistory or eaten by a saber-toothed tiger when he was 13. So I mean, it's like it's nostalgic to want to wax poetic about all of this stuff from back in the day, but I'm telling you, the evidence for all those claims is not solid. Who do I think built the pyramid? I actually read something on that. I haven't rechecked. I don't remember what I came across. I believe human beings did it. There it is. I mean, human beings. I think it was really smart people who orchestrated. There was a lot of really cheap labor around back then, to keep it mildly. So yeah. Human beings. There's lots of videos you can look up showing how they believe that they did it. It's hard to see how they did it with limited technology, but there's a lot of people who've come up with pretty airtight, pretty solid explanations of how they could have done it. And it's actually something in the hieroglyphics where they actually show how they did it and how they were able to put really good bricks on logs and then roll and push it like the logs was moving the bricks, and then pouring water into the sand in front of the logs to make it mush and move better. It's like, so yeah, they figured it out. They were smart. But they didn't invent time travel. That's different. That's very much different. All right, where we at? Let me skip ahead, because I know I can't play too much at one time. Joe Rogan people don't play. Joe Rogan's peeps don't play. Let's skip ahead. But again, it was interesting. This conversation was fun.
Planet for
what do you think it was powered
usage.
by?
The hot water springs underneath it.
So it was powered by the hot water springs?
Hold on. I think they're about to talk about what you just asked. Who built the pyramids?
Soot. There's no this. It's clearly a power plant and built specifically for that location on this planet. For
what do you think it was powered
usage.
by?
The hot water springs underneath it.
I think you're talking about the pyramids right there. Hold on, let me back up even more.
Good food. So they think they were actually skilled labor, but also probably forced skilled labor. But
okay, so yeah, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about who built the pyramids. They're saying it was skilled labor, but probably forced skilled labor. So he's saying the same thing I said in a also nice way to say. Like I said, it was a lot of cheap labor around back then. That's what he's saying. Forced skilled labor. Yeah. People were smart. They had no distractions. So yeah, they developed ideas and ways to do things and stuff. So yeah. but they didn't have the technology. But they was
That's probably
smart.
not the.
They had ingenuity. That's the right word. They had good ingenuity, but nothing electrical. If you understand what I'm saying.
People built it. That's probably the people that were working on it. That's
Yeah.
probably the people that worked in the village or in the city.
How many companies have done renovations on the White House? None of them have done enough renovation that they can claim it's their White House. So yes, thousands of years worth of people were there, but that doesn't have anything to do with the building of it.
Who do you think built it?
Well, understand, we know enough now to understand that this was a complex. This was not
Right.
We've been led to believe that this is how much they worshipped their dead bodies.
Right.
But the evidence doesn't show any of that.
No, it doesn't.
Like when you see inside, when they have those intricate carvings.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. The evidence showed that they didn't. That wasn't the case. No, then they built those big old structures and temples and the whole works. I mean, they did have the dead bodies of kings in there, buried with various riches and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know how you could say that the evidence does not show that they were building all of that stuff to honor their dead. Like people were very, very religious back then, and they worshiped their god kings. So yes, it's very possible that yes, they were building giant structures to usher him into to help usher him into the next life. Yes, yeah, that's very, very feasible, very possible.
And paintings and stuff in gold and stuff. You have to remember, this is in a windowless room, folks. There's no candle soot. There's no this. It's clearly a power plant and built specifically for that location on this planet.
What do you think was power?
You said none of that was ever found in the pyramids. No. All the structures and a lot of stuff that they built, I do know that they have found caskets and tombs and all kind of stuff of their kings or important people in there. Now, if it specifically wasn't one in the pyramids, then fine, okay, I'll accept that. So, but you still have a lot of legwork to do to prove that it was some structure of technology beyond what we understand today that came from aliens, and the secret to life is in there. It's like you have a lot of work left to do to get to that point. It's okay to be skeptical of the mainstream story and then search for knowledge, but when you're searching for knowledge and you find an alternative story, you should also apply that same skepticism to the alternative story. You don't like the current theory, you come up with a conspiracy theory, run your conspiracy theory through the same level of criticism. And what you will quite often find is that the reason that it's called a conspiracy theory because there's not enough evidence to call it a theory. It's like, so yeah.
Powered by
the hot water springs underneath it.
So it was powered by the hot water.
Hot water springs underneath the pyramids. That should be provable.
Springs.
You should be able to go under there and find that if it was, technology like that. Hot water springs. Yeah, you should be able to go and find that like that. You make a claim like that, it should be provable.
But to what end? How do you know this? First of all, is this marijuana talk?
I don't.
Thank you, Joe Rogan. Is this marijuana talk? Yes. Because he's making what's known as a falsifiable claim. All right. Bertrand Russell was the one who's famous for, if I say that there's an invisible teapot floating around, orbiting around the sun out as far as Pluto, that's not a falsifiable claim because nobody can prove me wrong. It was something like that. But if I say that there's a teapot buried 10 feet in my backyard, okay, that's a falsifiable claim. It's buried 10 feet underground in my backyard. I can show them the spot. They can go dig it, and they can dig 12 feet deep all through my backyard. They find no teapot, then I was BSing. They find the teapot, I was telling the truth. There are claims that can be proven and claims that can't be proven. If somebody makes a falsifiable claim, then it's like, okay, let's go prove it. If they make an unfalsifiable claim, then they're just, and to me, they're just BSing.
This is
Where did you read this?
if you follow information about humankind, you find out that in all parts of history, people were coming to this region for their information and their knowledge and their things
Yes.
that were forbidden, and
Yep.
these were not these were the highest of human civilization. Here.
Not even comparable to anyone else.
No.
Nor since. Nor
now
since.
or yeah,
Nor since.
right.
The Great Pyramid of Giza is insane.
Right. Like
It's insane.
like even Tesla says that this is where he came to get the information. But if you follow that information pathway, it leads you to this character called Thoth, right? And the emerald tablets of Thoth are literally mind changing and mind blowing, just because you understand when this was written, and the terminology being used is
When was it written?
far too accurate for now. So I'm sure that
Here it is. Emerald tablet. Also known as the Smaragdine tablet, or the Tabula Smaragdina. Boy, fuck.
It sounded like some Indiana Jones type stuff. Whereas again, you're saying it's all this ancient knowledge buried out there. And then there's some stuff you can Google about it. And then take a hit of the weed.
Look that up. It's a compact
Hermes
and
Trismegistus.
a cryptic hermetic text. It was highly regarded by Islamic and European alchemists as the foundation of their art. Though attributed to the legendary Hellenistic figure Hermes Trismegistus. How do you say it, bro? How do you say it?
Trismegistus.
Trismegistus.
Yeah.
The text of the Emerald Tablet first appears in a number of early medieval Arabic sources, the oldest of which dates to the late 8th or early 9th century. It was translated into Latin several times in the 12th and 13th centuries. Numerous interpretations and commentaries followed. So what does it say, though? The Egyptian god Thoth. Okay, it says beginning in the 2nd century BC onwards, Greek texts attributed to Hermes, a syncretic combination of Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth, appeared in Greco-Roman Egypt. Those texts, known as the Hermetica, are a heterogeneous collection of works that in the modern day era are commonly subdivided into two groups: the technical Hermetica, comprising of astrological, medico-botanical, alchemical, and magical writings, and the religio-philosophical Hermetica, comprising of mystical philosophical writings. Holy shit.
Is this weed talk, Joseph?
No, this is so legit.
So legit, my man.
So this dude was probably an alien.
Dude, first of all, there are no probablys.
Yeah.
That's the benefit once you hear it or read it, is the fact that it's given in first person, and that's not possible. The things that are being said are impossible. Enough time has passed, though, that it's not like that. But
I'm going to read that.
he literally says, hey, there's a spaceship on Earth, and this is where it is. Because if all you care about is information, right? Like, that's what you start to see is when you get to everybody's civilization, Asian, Indian, African, when you get to the crux of their information, nobody's disagreeing with anybody.
Right.
All right. That part right there summed up the conversation almost in a nutshell. It was a lot more to it, but that's what they was on. And I know some people who watch like the ancient alien shows, and they, believe a lot of that stuff. And it's like, okay, cool. That's fine. Go ahead, believe in that. And a part of me feel like I'm wrong for, I'm trying to hold him to what he did on Club Shay Shay. I thought that when he went to Joe Rogan, it was going to be along some controversial lines. I think that's what a lot of people thought. And we could see how this one is. I mean, it's been out for a little while now. It's air quotes only 6 million views or so. It might top out at 10. But it's not going to do the 60 million that it did over on Club Shay Shay, because again, the way that he acted, tone he took, the conversation choices that he made, even when Shannon Sharp wasn't trying to even go down that route, he kind of forced the issue, say, no, we got to talk about this. We got to call these people out. I mean, again, on a black man's show is gang banging on black comedians, gang banging on black entertainers, gang banging on black people. Did he go to Joe Rogan Experience, and then it's Asian aliens and all of that? And again, this is what I said earlier in the show. Dave Chappelle Dave Chappelle was kind of hating too because Dave Chappelle got in on the gangbanging. But he pointed out that you ain't call out none of them white boys. you ain't call out none of that stuff. So in my mind, and maybe this was just my false assumptions or expectations, that I was thinking that it wouldn't be far-fetched that he go on Joe Rogan. Maybe he would. Maybe he would go there. Maybe he would, expand on his, on the conversation that he started on Club Shay Shay. But it didn't. So, I mean, I'm asking the question, and the link is in the chat room. Anybody want to come up and speak on that? And am I jumping the gun saying that it's a pivot, or we see, black people do different stuff when they get around white people, and there's something really wrong with that. But he says Joe is deeper than the effery. But is it really effery though? Is it really effery? Calling out industry people. That was a golden ticket. That was everything. That's what broke the internet. Calling out the industry plants. Should have went on Joe Rogan and called out the planters by name. I mean, you don't care about the industry. And so it's like that was sort of my expectation. That was sort of my expectation. Shout out to Dane C in the building. Shout out to Dane C in the building. Do appreciate you coming on through. Thank you for putting your last $2 on it. Shout out to you. He says, BR, salute. Katt sounds extra white with you. I wasn't going to call this man, I wasn't going to say this man sound extra white on Joe Rogan, but no, it is a difference. It is a difference that black people are uncomfortable with. He said, black people love gossip. That's why. You have an interesting point there. I'm not going to deny the legitimacy of that point. Actually, I'm glad you said that, because that was the point that I did want to get to. Can we knock Katt Williams, or can we knock black people in general? Because I said, when I was saying he became the people's champ off of, basically starting this equivalent to the 90s East Coast, West Coast rap beef. When I said he basically started that in the comedy and entertainment realm and became the people's champ for it, was he just giving the people what they wanted? Because that's what black people like. That's what niggas want. Niggas want that. Niggas love that. Niggas got to have that. So was he rightfully, properly playing to his audience? Was he rightfully, properly playing to his audience? But all the people who looked at him like, this oracle of wisdom for stirring up a beef and ultimately, saying stuff and doing stuff to ultimately tear down other people who happen to be his competitors, and that's what everybody be doing. Everybody is tearing down their competitors. But he getting big to the point that I have no idea, no doubt that the industry that he called out, I have no doubt that they knocking at his door. I have no doubt that we probably going to see him in some stuff now. We're probably going to see him interacting with that industry. But it's going to be okay when he do it. That's where it's probably going to end up going. Super Duper in the building. It's like he changed roles when he got on Rogan's show. On Shay, he was on some ninja-ish. On Rogan, he on some conspiracy talk that white people like. Truth be told, black people still like that stuff too. But he got on something different. He no doubt got on something different. And I get the whole idea of changing your roles. A different audience calls for a different type of action and behavior. You go on a place where it's about talking junk and going off and snapping. Then you go on, if they bring you on CNN, you're not going to act on CNN the way that you act on your own podcast. That's understandable. That's understandable. But it's still something. It's still a there in what I'm saying. And the link is in the chat. I want somebody to come up and tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. Come on up and tell me where I'm wrong. The link is in the chat room. Super Duper in the building says Shay Show, black folk conspiracies. Rogan, white folks conspiracy. That's a good point. That's a good point. I can't argue with that one. I can't argue with that one. Because what a lot of people didn't acknowledge, because you don't think it's a conspiracy theory when you think it's true, but when he is saying that people like when he said Ludacris had to cut his hair and cut off his pork chop sideburns, and they're going to give him $100 million in some light skinned wife or girlfriend, and put him in 10 movies or whatever, or $100 million for doing that. And he was like, how many Fast and Furious did they make? 1, 2, 3, 10. Oh, there you go, right there. It's like, so you're saying this man got those jobs, that steady income, over some people controlling him, telling him he had to do this, he had to do that, and then you also go the extra mile and imply that people taking it up the butt because of this and that, because they getting this gig and they getting that gig, and there's people that in the industry that control all that and control rituals, and if somebody is really successful and they seem to come out of nowhere or had a seemingly overnight success, is because they was on their knees for somebody in the industry or this. It's like he throw out a bunch of unprovable claims, and black people like that. They like to think that it's some overarching force controlling every aspect of our lives in a way that's bigger than just the government making laws. It's lizard people, with a human outer shell that they can zip out of. It's X-Files stuff. It's some Illuminati demon stuff going on behind the scenes, and all of our entertainers that we see do things that we kind of disagree with or don't like. It's like, aha, we see what they doing right there. Aha, that's what it is. And he was the one who came and exposed it all, that it's some really rich and powerful white or non-human people, perhaps, behind the scenes controlling all of these people that we see in the industry. Basically, all the people that's more successful than Katt Williams, they're being controlled by these unnamed people. Like that's really what it was, and that was the black people conspiracy theories. So he's moving on to different types of conspiracy theories because he's a conspiracy theorist. And seeing as black people love conspiracy theories, going off on that conspiracy theory stuff that he went on there with Club Shay, where he's exposing conspiracies more close to home with our celebrities that we know and love, or know and don't love so much. Yeah, that was a different thing, and it hit different. Like, he had the pulse of the people, and by the people I mean black people. He had the absolute pulse, the black community by the balls, by calling out other black people. Other black people who, more successful than he is in an industry that's probably knocking at his door right now. So again, what is he going to do when he get those knocks? But let's move forward. Where am I at? Let's go. We're going to pull up what part of this we're going to pull up?
Religious people would say, oh, you can't watch the Smurfs because it's bad because they have witchcraft and stuff in there. But the whole thing is, it's based on this, the homunculus, the idea that you can create a human life form without a mother or a father. So
really, that's what the Smurfs are based on.
So what two Smurfs do you think got together and had Smurfette? She was the only female of the Smurfs. So
it's a good question.
Well, it's not a question in the Smurfs. They tell you that Gargamel made Smurfette. But in somebody's history, I don't want to say what race of people or group of people it is, but in somebody's history, there was this homunculus thing,
like a genetically engineered human
life form, mm-hmm.
creature,
right?
Whoa.
And so it's spoken of.
It's funny to me that That it's a lot of people that reacted to this, and maybe they just put that in their titles and their thumbnails. They're making it seem like he came up here and like dropped bombs on something. He exposed this. He's supposed to like, no, man. Pothead conversation. Pothead conversation. I'm sorry.
In history, very sparingly, but you know, a lot of things in the world are about perception. You know, so we don't believe that there's clones. We don't believe that because we don't feel like we have the technology. But the truth is, if you go body part to body part, you'll go, what if I lost 2 legs? Well, we give you 2 legs. Well, what about 2 arms? I can give you 2 arms. Okay, well, what about the heart? Yeah, no.
Yeah, I hate that part. That's not how cloning works. Cloning is taking place. They cloning all kind of stuff, but they got to do it at the embryo phase. They got to basically grow it from birth. They're not making replicas. Like, black people don't know the difference between a clone and a replica. People be saying it's a Kanye West clone. Like, no, they don't make replicas. They make clones. They can literally clone you if they wanted to, but it won't be another living, breathing, alternate version of you sitting next to you. No, it will be another you from birth. It'll be like Wango Fett and Boba Fett. They made the clones based off the bounty hunter in Star Wars, the Clone Wars. They made it off the bounty hunter Wango Fett. I hope I'm saying his name right. And then he said, I want one for myself. Don't give it no alterations, no thing. Just give me another version of myself that I raised from birth as my son. That was Boba Fett. All the other ones they gave growth acceleration and did all kind of stuff to them, mind control mechanisms and all, put all kind of chips in their head and did all kind of stuff in Star Wars that he's talking about they doing, you know, right now. Put chips in their head to control them, the whole works. You know, that's a clone. Boba Fett was a clone in Star Wars. And even in Star Wars, science fiction, they had the wherewithal to understand if they're going to make clones, they got to raise them from birth. They can't just do replicas. That's not how it works. But all right, we are joined by Hood Conservative. I was hoping somebody who disagreed with me would pop up on this one, but what's up? What's going on? Well, maybe you got some disagreement, but what's up?
No, not really. I mean, I think you brought up, so you kind of brought this point up a little bit. Like, you have every right to not be, you know, just one guy. I mean, just one type of thing, right? You don't have to just be the funny nigga. And so it might be a little bit on us as an audience. Like, well, we want him to dance, nigga, dance. And he got up there in front of Joe Rogan. He was like, I just don't feel like dancing for you niggas today. Like, maybe that's a little bit on us, right?
Hold on. But it wasn't dancing for you niggas. It was not going to dance for. I'm not going to show my ass and show out in front of the white people, but I'm gonna go to the black platform and I'm gonna get on my nigga shit. You know, that's really what it is.
Dance for you niggas and behave civilized for Mr. Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It is a weird thing. You're not wrong to like bring it up in that way. It is kind of a weird thing, but like I said, I don't totally want to hold him to that because like, who am I to say you should only be a nigga? You know what I mean? Because like, listen, I got broad interest too. All that stuff that they mention on, I can talk about that stuff to some degree just as well because I have broad interest as well. You can't just be a performing funny nigga all your life, right? But I did want him to tell a fucking joke. Like, God damn, it was so dry, bro. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm listening to it at accelerated speed, and you can't even tell. Because if you listen to it at regular speed, I don't want to just say it was boring. You go to sleep if you listen to it at regular speed, but no, you do got to speed that stuff up like that. Yeah, it was. It was dry. But go ahead.
You ever been in a room full of people who've been drinking already, and you came in stone sober? And it's kind of like that. Like if I had been in the room smoking with them, I might have been interested and compelled and whatever because we all in on it together, right? But watching it as an outsider is like y'all just high and spitballing random shit because we got 2.5 hours to kill. Like it was something off about it. It really was.
Yeah, no, yeah. It wasn't hitting, but no, yeah, but I'm shocked that no black person is going the route of saying that, you became the people's champ, calling out the industry. You're there. Not that Joe Rogan is like the big wig of the industry, but as far as podcasting goes, as far as the large platform goes, I think he has the biggest platform that, does an interview format. So you're there, you're calling out the Illuminati and calling out everybody, the industry this, the industry that, what they're doing, how they're controlling this, how they're controlling that. You call out everybody by name with the black people. I mean, it's like none of that kind of stuff came up, but then it got glossed over. So it did. I'm shocked that more black people, especially the ones that are more on the pro-black side of the game, are not saying, where's the same energy? Like, I shouldn't be the one calling it out. A lot of people just reacting to it like it was just it was a good interview or whatever, or he dropped bombs, or he exposed this, or there's a part where you're going to talk about men wearing dresses or something, like where he just vaguely touch on it real briefly and then move along. But it was,
Some of that Hollywood stuff, like outside of the gossipy nature of it all, which I understand that part, we all fall victim to that shit, right? But you got to understand, this is like rich people with less than stellar moral compasses, right? Rich people with faulty moral compasses up here complaining about the shit they've done to one another. You really think I give a fuck if Monique got screwed over by another black woman in Hollywood? Fuck all of you people. Want me to care? I got a job. Bitch, I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Man, I've been on that from the start, that us regular folks don't care about Monique's problems, and how when she was working for the Parkers, she said it herself that she was getting I forgot how much per episode, 22,000. No, it was more than that. Basically, it came out to a couple million a year. It was like 22 episodes, and however many $1,000 you got to make per 22 episodes to make a few million a year, a couple million a year. That's what she was getting. But now she bitching because she signed a contract that cut her out of the royalties. Oh well, you made $2 million when you was in the game, and you don't get no residuals. Oh well, that's a contract you signed. Who gives a why am I supposed to care? Why am I supposed to care? It's like, so yes, they do be begging us to care. Now that's what I felt like Katt Williams was on, because he complaining because Kevin Hart getting bigger movie deals and bigger movie roles, and they don't like each other and all this. And I'm like, dude, I don't care about y'all rich people problems. Yes, I mean, I'm sure it's rich people in every industry that get screwed out of good deals, or they tried to capitalize on something and then something happened where it didn't fall through, and then when you do the research, you find out that somebody pulled a string to their own benefit. Well, you pull strings to your benefit. It's like everybody is a dog-eat-dog world out there, whether you're making 50,000, 75,000 a year, or if you're in the business of making $2 to $5 million a year, or $10 to $20 million a year. It's still a capitalist dog-eat-dog world. So what we end up hearing on the black side of things, we end up hearing the losers who running a $1 million race, the losers in the game of running a $5 million race, they fall short and they only end up with $1 million. But somebody put a thumb on the scale that caused them to lose, and they want to come to the people for support to complain about it. And I'm like, no, nah, you lost. You signed the contract you signed, or you didn't maneuver right, or somebody was an asshole.
You see how Oprah? Oh shit, I'm breaking up.
Go ahead. Are you there?
Yeah, no, I think I was breaking up for a second. I was gonna say, did you see how Taraji was complaining about, her pay and all of that stuff, and she was upset about the conditions and all that? The whole time, we think she talk about Hollywood at first. No, this bitch talk about Oprah. Oprah, the one that she was mad at the whole time. And then they be wanting us to think Hollywood is just fucking them over. Like, no, y'all get in there and y'all do to each other exactly what you say Hollywood does to you. Apparently, this is just the business.
Yeah. No, all damn day. All damn day. I was trying to find a clip of Terry Crews, and I hate to pull him up because he's the poster child for men getting Me Too by men. So I don't like to validate anything else that he said when a man grabbed your nuts and you ain't knock him out. So I don't want to validate this man.
Well, wait a minute, because now you bring up a great segue, and then I'm gonna plug my show later on in a couple hours. Today is Diddy Day,
Huh?
and ain't nobody ever punched Diddy in the face.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
And we're gonna get to all the people who should have punched Diddy in the face. I got them on tape telling why they should have punched him in the face, but they never did. We're gonna get to all of that. So you know what? I'm gonna give Terry Crews a break because you're not gonna be the first person to get your balls fondled by a rich Semite.
Oh, that is deep. That is deep. Everybody criticized Terry Crews, but we could find damn near multiple videos of Diddy definitely verbally, but in some cases, physically, sexually harassing men. There's plenty of videos of that. And the guy just looked real uncomfortable. Probably the same level of discomfort that Terry Crews had when he was, didn't want to knock out this executive at some white tie affair. So yeah.
And then you had one of these weird Hollywood parties. Everybody's doing exotic drugs and shit. And Diddy up there talking about take that. And you think he talk about the bitches. So you cool. You ain't even worried about the nigga. Next thing you know.
Yeah. I'm about to pull up Terry Crews. I never thought that would happen, that we would be putting some spec on Terry Crews' name. I don't got the original clip, but I know ABL reacted to it. So we're gonna see a little bit of ABL in this. But I just want to play this part right here, and this is how I feel when it comes to black people, black entertainers complaining about the contract that they sign.
I have never, ever, ever looked at whatever money I got as a horror story. Mm-hmm. If I did it, I loved it. Right. See, but this is the problem. There's a saying I have to say: you can't nod yes and mean no.
God damn. How's everybody doing? My name is
Anthony. I gotta skip. Let me skip this part. I want to get to the whole clip. Gotta skip ABL and all his intro lead up to it. Hopefully he don't pause it that much. I hate doing this, playing some stuff I haven't seen, because he probably gonna be pausing and talking too much. I just want to hear Terry Crews.
Visit a link.
I don't know if you have any horror stories, but Terrence Howard said that he was only paid like $12,000 for doing Hustle and Flow. You have any horror stories in which you felt that you didn't get the proper compensation that you deserve?
First of all,
now before he begins, I gotta just do fair use here, because this is again Club Shay.
Real quick, Hustle and Flow, that got him at the Oscars nominated for an Oscar. It got him he got nominated for Crash and Hustle and Flow that year. Got nominated for Best Actor for Hustle and Flow. He only got $12,000. Now, from there, he got gigs from that, even though he took low money on a low budget movie about niggas doing low stuff. And then from that moment, he got to basically be, Iron Man. He in the first Iron Man movie, he played the character that Don Cheadle played War Machine, where it's basically just a black dude in an Iron Man costume, similar to who does basically the same thing that Iron Man do. He pulled to Monique and started complaining about y'all not paying me, enough for this. I mean, I forgot what it was, but he felt like he should have been getting close to what Robert Downey Jr. was doing. He blew it. And then he blew 6 movies after that, because Don Cheadle played that. Don Cheadle, who I think is a more decorated actor than Terrence Howard, played that Iron Man role, like in 6-7 different movies. So it's like, but taking less money, getting started, getting your name out there, it gets you gigs. It keeps you in circulation.
Bro, this sounds almost exactly like Taraji complaining about Brad Pitt. And that movie they did together. Like,
Yep.
motherfucker, Iron Man makes way more money than War Machine. That's the end of, all right? There's no other way to approach that subject, but how dare you expect to make anything equivalent to Iron Man?
Yeah.
Nobody even cares who War Machine is. You'll never get a War Machine movie. You are lucky to be Iron Man's buddy. That's why you got to be in the goddamn story, because you're his buddy.
Yeah, I couldn't even think of the character's name other than just, I mean, the War Machine is like the, you know, essentially the name of the machine he put on, the suit he put on. But
only people who are into comic books like me know his actual name, but fuck his name because he's not important.
Yeah. But, all right, let's hear this.
Shay, links in the box.
I understand what Terrence is saying, but I have never, ever, ever looked at whatever money I got as a horror story. If I did it, I loved it.
Now, I'm not quite sure if in this short clip he goes into, because that's a,
but this is the problem. There's a saying I have to say, you can't nod yes and mean no. If I nod yes, I looked at the terms and say, okay, you're going to pay me $4 grand for 2 days. Okay. If I said, okay, I can't come back later and be like, I only got $4 grand for that.
Exactly.
Now the thing he talking about his first movie, his first big break was that Friday After Next, where he played the, you know, hell, he played the big gay dancing muscle dude in Friday After Next. Got paid $4,000 by Q, but unknown, who took that and milked it into a career all the way up until he was the dad on the Chris Rock show and all, you know, he turned it into a career. He's a successful $1 million man from a $4,000 little gig that he had. You know, it's like, and he signed the contract. Let's just say Friday After Next, you know, was a cult classic of the first Friday and is making all kind of extra residual money after the fact. He's like, and I want some of them residuals, man. My character was integral to the story in that movie, and I should be able to get some. I'm like, no, you didn't, you know, you ain't signed the contract. Ice Cube gave you $4,000 in an envelope and he slid it under the table. That's how you got paid, and you signed the contract, and that's the money you got from it. From there, you got to take that fame, that stardom, and make it into something. But go ahead, you was about to jump in.
Yeah, this whole thing, there's a hypocrisy to the Hollywood complaint that I really hate. And this is how the game is played on the average black person, right? Because, you know, we're just the viewing public. What they do is for our benefit. Like, their entire role is to create it's wizardry, right? It's to create a false reality for our consumption as the viewing public. So we are told that, you know, Hollywood, you know, the white people, they want black people to always wear a dress, right? As a black man, you got to wear a dress if you really want to make it big, right? Now, in that, there's a lot of there's a misdirection going on here because it's not, quote, white people. Nobody believes that white people ran Hollywood. And there's entire documentaries about who runs Hollywood and who founded Hollywood and why they founded it. It's not a fucking secret. And then yesterday I was doing a show and I had to take it down immediately because YouTube sucks and I rumble now. I rumble so hard now.
Oh, that's
and yeah, because YouTube sucks and I can't talk about this type of shit freely without taking my content down immediately. So that's what I did. Yeah. So anyway, Candace Owens, she asked a question on her podcast. She was talking about the field of psychology and psychotherapy, which is all really traced back to Sigmund Freud. And she was like, do you understand that pretty much everybody who founded, like all the pioneers of psychotherapy and psychology were raging, like pedophilic, sexual, creepy guys? Like these are all the writings of people trying to psychoanalyze their own misbehaviors, right? And then you ask me why I don't trust therapy, Bernard, because I know things. And so anyway, Candace, she got to a point where she started talking about who is behind the adult film industry, right? She put a tweet out asking who is behind all this adult film stuff. And so I did my show and I'm like, hey, Candace, I noticed you noticing. And so I showed who was behind it all. In their own words, at their own meetings, you know, the stuff that they talk about among themselves when they think little niggas ain't watching. And they are behind all this stuff too. Like they created all this stuff, right? And so when you talk about why black men wear dresses in Hollywood, It's not because the average white guy gets a kick out of it. It's because the average one of those guys gets a kick out of it.
Huh.
That's all.
And when we know who one of those guys is, right? It's those that we don't speak of, that you're not supposed to speak of on YouTube. That's what you're talking about?
I was trying to be real good about that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm evolved and I'm matured. I'm refined in my racism.
All right. Okay, cool. But just a correction. Well, hold on. Real Clue Channel says Iron Man 1 was an experiment. The only people who got paid were Fox and Marvel people. Well, more specifically, Terrence Howard was on board with the first one. His complaint and pay, as far as I understand it, it wasn't with the first movie. When they tried to bring him back for the second movie, he tried to negotiate. And part of me feel like, yes, negotiate for whatever you think you're worth. I'm fine with that. But that's where his complaint was, that he felt like he should have been getting paid more for the second movie, because I guess he thought he saw Robert Downey Jr., who was literally Iron Man, was getting paid significantly more, and him playing the sidekick, I guess he thought he deserved a bigger piece of that pie for the second movie, which again was all around a bad move, because you play that character once. If you knew what the MCU was up to, you know that was like 6 big blockbuster movies. I'm pretty sure by the time Infinity Wars and Endgame came out, Don Cheadle was getting a nice size check for taking that role for you. But anyway, let's play a little bit more of what he's saying.
You saw the turn dollars. That deal
I'm not. That's what you present.
When it comes to this business, it's simple.
Hey man, that's what you presented. Right. So there it is. Ain't no, to me, I'm not going back on that. Right. And this keeps my heart always full of gratitude, because once I start to complain about any of that, it starts to mess with my legacy. I didn't get nothing for training day. How about that? I didn't get a 0.
Now, remember, training day, he was in the...
We don't even remember you in training day.
I know. No, he told the story on that interview. Like, we don't... This was actually his first movie. He was a security dude, and he was there. He knew people in the industry. He had the security for people in the industry and all of that. So he was there on set. Like, somebody brought him on set. They like, hey, Denzel Washington is shooting this scene over here, man. Just come down here with me. You security. He just got to be on set, and Antoine Fuqua saw him and looked at him like, hey man, you want to be in the movie? He's like, man, I see the wife beater under your shirt, man. Just take your shirt off and just stand right there and look tough and strong. And then while Denzel Washington doing the iconic, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. When Denzel Washington doing his iconic Oscar scene, and Terry Crews was just right there, didn't get paid, but just was like, shit, fuck this, I stand right here being in this movie. And then he moved, went from there. I forgot how he took that and ended up plugging with
now he has an acting credit. That's how you got paid. You got paid with a future.
Yeah, you got paid with an acting credit. He just got to sit there, and he just got to stand right there in that movie and look the part, 5 feet away from Denzel Washington winning an Oscar. Like he said that in the interview, his mama and them watching the Oscars, and when how they played a clip from the movie before they after they call the person name, they when they doing the whole, and the nominees are, and they played a clip from the movie. He's sitting there, he just a dude working security. He's broke. I think his wife was pregnant with their 3rd kid. They ain't have nothing going. He was a failed NFL player that whatever money he made, he ain't have it no more. Life was over. Not life was over, but I'm just saying, career didn't pan out. Everything was going down the drain. And then he just got this opportunity for free, and then milked it to Friday After Next. Took $4,000 to that, and then milked that to White Chicks, and then milked that to the next gig, and then now he making money.
To be fair, Terry Crews isn't complaining. He's actually talking about why he doesn't really complain about that sort of shit. He's just listing off the things, but I'll give him a break on that.
Oh no, he wasn't complaining. I know. No, I mean, maybe maybe because it's broken up and we talking in between. He was saying all that he was saying right there, that he was making the point that he never complained about the contract that he signed, because you shouldn't say yes when you really mean no. So he's basically making the point that we've been making. If you sign the deal, you sign the deal. That's what it is, and that's
And
why,
I think
go ahead.
I think he kind of like lived it out, right? Once you sign like that deal, like let's go back to the training day thing, right? So you just get asked to be in the movie on a humble, right? You weren't supposed to be in, you didn't want to be in, you were there for a totally different reason, and they were like, "Hey, take your shirt off and be in the movie." You say, "All right, fine, I'm in." Now, from there on, it is now like incumbent upon you to make the best out of that, right? Because a lot of people have probably gotten that very same experience, and they couldn't turn it into a successful like B movie career or whatever, right? He did, and so you got to just be humble and to take your wins with your losses, because there are worse things than being security guards. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have slid way down the ladder, but you bounced up. So just got to suck it up and be happy.
Yeah. Shout out to Dane C in the building. He says, Lil Rod said Diddy touched him on the inside part. Huh? All right, maybe we'll hear about that in Hood stream later, when he's talking about all the people who should have knocked the shit out of Diddy for his harassment of men after we clowned Terry Crews for not knocking out the dude who fondled his nuts.
Let me put it to you like this, bro. The stuff that I'm going to show you guys, I didn't even realize it at first, because all right, first the Cassie thing went off, and even though I sort of believe Cassie, because I just suspect Diddy's kind of ain't shit. That's all right, a rich guy doing weird sexual stuff with a beautiful woman. Like, okay, dog bites man, not a really shocking story, right? But now, from what we're hearing and a lot of the stuff that I found over the week, bro, they're saying this is almost like hip hop Epstein level shit.
Yeah, I ain't even been keeping up. I just let it go. I moved on from any type of Diddy coverage. Only thing, I'll defend any man if it start looking like a brigade of women are coming out the woodwork saying that yes, in a club back in 1998 he brushed up against me, and I didn't feel safe when he did it, and now she's trying to sue him. I'll defend any man, no matter how weird you are. I will defend you when I hear stuff like that. But Diddy is like, I'm letting it all go. I'm letting it all go. I got nothing to say about
It is not just Diddy. It's not even just Diddy. Oh my God, Meek Mill been melting down over the last week on the internet. I ain't never seen a gangster nigga melt down so much.
I ain't been watching. I've deliberately not been watching. I be seeing it on my Instagram. I just keep scrolling. I don't even know what he's melting down about. I know that he's been implicated in some Diddy rumors. That's all I know.
Yo, how one nigga go to sue Diddy, right? And he say you gay, you and Diddy be doing the Diddy, and then you mad at Academic. Why the fuck you mad at Ack for? Ack ain't got shit to do with none of the dick you did or did not take. That's the only thing that needs to be addressed right now, Meek. Nobody wants you to show up at Ack House 3 o'clock in the morning doing nothing. Talk about the allegations, bro.
Wait, hold on. You saying DJ Academic's the one that put the information out there about Meek Mill and Diddy?
I mean, that's how Meek acting. So you know how Ack is. He'll go find the fucking court documents. Like I got the clip. So Ack was on his live stream and he pulling up the court documents. And so he reading. He was like, so allegedly Diddy was having relations with a Philly rapper that was also dating Nicki Minaj. He's like, no. And so now the internet's on fire, bro. It all started from there.
That ain't good. See, yeah, I've been deliberately avoiding even looking at that. But damn, that's bad. That's
bad, bro.
Yeah.
I couldn't look away. It was like a car wreck, bro. I just couldn't look away.
Nope. I looked away. I just said I'm through with Diddy, and whatever they pinning on him or whatever he did, I'm done. I tapped out. I got nothing. Damn. Damn. But Tech Nobility in the building says he parlayed his opportunity. Absolutely. We pretty much at the end of the clip. Let me play a little more.
Say a word and got paid $0. And as a matter of so whatever this to a no
for free.
$1.
Hold on.
Yo, yeah.
Exactly. When you start playing football,
you play basketball for free. Then you get all the way to the pros and you get the millions. Ain't no other way, bruh.
Exactly. You can't just see what Taraji drew some money.
No brand on new ways to get right to the money. But hey, man, first of all, nobody knew who I was, and I got my shot. I got paid maybe $4,000 on Friday after next, but that's why I came up to Cuba and said, thank you. Thank you.
That was a start.
That was the start. Now,
Ooh,
I make money now.
Yeah, now
I mean, that's pretty much it right there. That's pretty much it right there. That's all I wanted to play about that when it comes to rich black people complaining about not getting the opportunity or the amount of money that they think they should. It's, you know, like you said, don't say yes when you really mean no. You sign the contract that you sign. If you got to sign some bad ones early to get your name out there, get your foot in the door, that gives you more negotiating power. At that point, you negotiate. You can either win or lose the negotiation. You either give a little ground or you take a little more than what you're supposed to, or you're in somewhere in the middle. But again, that is on you and how you finesse your situation and your opportunity. That's just all it is to it. And it's not even just white people, because all the black people that be making movies, all the black people that make movies with the actors that work for black people, they all reporting back that they don't like they pay when it comes to working for black people too. So it's like what the hell? What the hell is up with that? But it's one more little small part.
Well, that's another thing I think that needs to be brought up, bro. Black Hollywood isn't as big of a market as white Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when Will Smith makes $20 million a film, he's not doing a Negro story. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing a hood film, you know, directed by Queen Latifah. He's doing some big shit that white people are going to spend a lot of money to make and watching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same thing at all. Like, niggas just gonna have to suck it up, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah, you get paid based off what you generate. It's almost some WNBA type stuff where they basically, you know, we're doing the same thing. We're out there running up and down playing basketball too. We should get paid more. Not exactly what they make, but more than what we. No, you get paid what you generate. When Will Smith was at the top of the game, box office wise, a big summer blockbuster with special effects and Will Smith's name on it. That liable to make 500, you know, have 500 million at the box office, 600, 700 million. He can negotiate. Yeah, you got to pay me 25 for the 25 million for this. Yet you got a $250 million budget. Yep, I need 25 million. You still gonna profit 200 million. So he can negotiate that. But if we talking about movies that made what, you know, this new Color Purple movie made, it's like, nah, you ain't got that much negotiating power. But this is the one part where he talked about men wearing dresses or whatever. This is the one part, but you know, so let's live react. And I don't even know what your take is on the men wearing dresses in Hollywood and acting and all of that stuff. But let's play a little bit of this and then talk about it.
You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about, does following the ritual work? Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
That is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a ritual is. So 20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
Really?
And it said,
all right. Baphomet is something in some ancient mythology or something that he roped in with that and some ritual, and he's saying Hollywood got ritualistic stuff going on, and that's why they're wearing dresses. And then name one person who's unsuccessfully worn a dress, and that's how you know that it's a ritual. Now I got my thoughts on that, but what's your general thoughts on that whole Hollywood people wearing a dress, black men wearing a dress? Is some ritual, some emasculation ritual, something that they do, and then when a person does it, his career supposedly takes off, and the powers to be, well, the powers to be are doing this for whatever their reasons and agendas are. What's your takeaway on that?
He's not totally wrong. You know, once upon a time, I was willing to accept that there is a sort of like comedic effect to it. Like, all right, if you look at ancient, not ancient, but like go back to like Shakespeare's days, right? When Shakespeare was actually writing plays and they were performing them or whatever, they didn't let women out in public do stuff. So the male role, I mean, a male would have been playing the female role. It's not a total untraditional thing in the role of theater. Like even in Japan, like kabuki theater or something, guys would play a female role. Now, you know, that's probably what the gay dudes back then did. So maybe there was always that association as well too, right? However, knowing what I know about, you know, Hollywood and the business and the tribe and the history and the occult, yeah, he's not wrong. He's not making stuff up. He didn't just sort of write this yesterday and now he's trying to sell it to you like it's true.
So you think that when it comes to comedians putting on dresses, let's just go with Marlon Wayans. You know, like I said, after I watched that Terry Crews interview, went down a rabbit hole just looking up some little funny clips of white chicks, you know, whatever. Okay, so Marlon Wayans, he defended the whole dress wearing things, and he says, you know, when it comes to being, you know, creative and doing your art and being funny, you know, it's all kind of different ways that you could do it could manifest, and he was good. He was good with it. And the Wayans, like, they came up with white chicks, like Shawn Wayans, who played the gayest character ever in, I think, Scary Movie 2. Shawn Wayans came up with the idea of white chicks. Marlon Wayans came up with the Terry Crews character. He
has a transgender son, right? Like, this is not theoretical for him. He has a transgender son. None of this is theoretical. He is in the game. One of the people we're talking about now.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm asking, is it possible that Keenan Ivory Wayans, Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans got together and thought that movie was just a funny idea, and Marlon and Shawn
why is
like
Jay-Z
women? Go ahead.
Why is Jay-Z hanging around with that high priest from the Illuminati chick, Marima Abramovich?
High priest from the Illuminati? I don't know who's in and who's out on the Illuminati.
Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. I gotta take care of something.
All right, so yeah, let me just go finish my point I was making. It seems to me that there is certain people who think that there's some comedic value in men playing roles and wearing dresses. Like, for example, you know, in Living Color, that was a black production. I know black people like to think that there's white overlords over everything, but that was a black production. They came up with the character Wanda. Jamie Foxx put that dress on and played Wanda. Everybody thought it was funny back then. Martin did Shanae. Everybody thought it was funny back then. It's like, where's the line in people just being creative in their own little way? I can't get jiggy with it. If I was in the movie industry, I wouldn't do it because I ain't no little wacky comedian, you know. I wouldn't take that role. But there are some people who are some wacky, funny comedians, and that's what they do. You know, it's like, so I guess where is the line? Yeah, I know Big Mama's House and all that. Big dog pride down there. Yeah, like, where's the line in that? We talking about ritualistic stuff, and they put on a dress and they took it up the butt by some executive, or is it just people just doing whatever the creative liberties they want to do with their art? Like, do we gotta put somebody's butthole in danger by the Illuminati because we see them in a dress and they was doing that for years and everybody thought it was funny in the 90s? It's like, that's the question that I'm asking. It's like, and I don't know where to draw the line on that. Now, Tyler Perry, somebody mentioned Tyler Perry, it's ridiculous. That's the one that I criticize the most about that, because I'm like, dude, you're a billionaire now. You're a billionaire and you still putting on the dress. Like, at this point, you just cross-dressing. At this point, you're just a full-blown cross-dresser. Just come out as trans. That's how I feel about Tyler Perry. Like you could take off the whole Medea persona and just be a billionaire film.
Hey,
Go ahead.
you know how there's this sort of logic that says, we are such and such people, and we haven't had our story told, and now it's our time to tell our story, right? You've heard that kind of thinking before, right?
Yeah, I get annoyed by it, but yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, well, what happens when the gays want to tell their story?
Well, apparently non-gays do more gay stuff in the telling of the stories through media. If you're following the keeping score on every man that put on a dress or play a gay character. So I mean,
Well,
their
the
stories
logic,
look like non-gay stories.
right? No, I'm saying the logic I'm trying to lay out here is when the gay people want to get into Hollywood and tell their story, it's going to involve a lot more men wearing dresses.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I would guess I would argue that's probably already a lot of them, already in Hollywood and facilitating a lot of the dress wearing, just in the sense that it's people that make movies who happen to be gay. So they're going to smuggle some gay stuff in there. Sort of like the damn Disney exec that said, every little movie we make at Disney, I try to just sprinkle a little gay in it. We don't got to have the main character kissing somebody of the same sex, but let's just have a side character say something that just references her being gay or him being gay or so. Like, so yes, it's gay people behind the scenes trying to sprinkle a little gay in there. They admitted it. So it's almost like when they tell their story, it's like they're already doing it. They're already telling their stories. We're already seeing the sprinkling of gay in everything. So it's like we're already here with that. No, Tech Nobility says they make whole gay white TV shows now. The L Word. That's actually an old one. That was from like earlier part of the 2000s, I think. And that one, it was another one. It was one for men and one for women. It was all at the same time. I watched the one for women for a little bit, but yeah.
I think that's how they slipped it in there too. They're going to come at you with some, good-looking blonde lesbians, and then once you're okay with the good-looking blonde lesbians, it was like, well, what about Chuck and Larry?
Yeah. It gets wild. It gets wild, but no, like it's some of that stuff I don't trip on. It's either my type of comedy or not my type of comedy. But I do remember when everybody thought Wanda was funny. I do remember when everybody thought Shanae was funny. And then so I do think it is kind of a spin move to try to say this is some ritualistic stuff that everybody should be against. Now, if you're against it just on manhood principles, you don't think a man should put a dress on under any circumstance. And then I agree with that, but I don't overthink it when I see a wacky comedian doing wacky stuff. Now, when Ving Rhames did it, it's like, what the hell? Like, come on, man. Like that was stupid.
Let me offer something to you. I was having this. I was having actually a really long debate with SKC the other night about like marriage and the red pill, and we touched on.
Damn, I actually wanted to hear what he wanted to say right there, because SKC is, as far as I understand, lately been trying to lob criticism at red pill. So I was a little curious about that. I wasn't going to watch the stuff he did it. On my show, and I was just like, okay, whatever. But Speaking of criticism of Red Pill, the art of criticizing Red Pill is to criticize it. The best critics of Red Pill are Red Pill people who make Red Pill content without saying that they Red Pill. Then they can shit on everybody else who says that they are. Because it's like Red Pill content is everywhere. It's all over the place. It's all over the internet, all over Black YouTube. There's sprinkles of it everywhere. The trick is to be it without criticizing it. I mean, criticize it, be it, but don't claim it. Then you can criticize it. That's really the name of the game. That's what everybody been doing. But go ahead. What was you about to say?
Yeah, my bad. I think I hit the wrong button. But no, we were talking about this red pill versus marriage thing or whatever. And at a certain point, we got to the media. And I raised the question to SKC, and I'm gonna raise the question to you now, because you said, oh, once upon a time we all laughed at Shanae and Wanda. We all thought it was funny. And it wasn't just Shanae and Wanda. Tom Hanks, before he was a big star, he did a whole show cross-dressing. Him and some other white dude, they had a whole show where they cross-dressed as like two, Midtown Thoughts. Like, I forget the name of the show or whatever, but I remember that was a thing. But my question to you is, because this is what SKC was telling me, and I had to kick it back to him. Do you think the media gives us what we want, or does it tell us what to want?
Damn it! I don't want to make it's both. I don't hate to do that, so I'm trying to think of which one they do more, and I think it's more of an attempt to try to give us what we want. I mean, tell us what we want. I think it's more of an attempt to try to do that. But I can think of clear examples where they do things, produce things, put things out there that are clearly geared and centered around giving the people what they want. Like, for example, we was talking about Black Hollywood, the Black film industry. All right. We will complain that only Black movies that they make are comedies, romantic comedies, hood movies, or like, our historical pieces. It's like it gotta be either laughing and joking, gang banging and thugging, or slavery mixed with some romance, and they're saying, but we don't, and so it's like, yes, that's what Black movies are. When they try to make serious movies or movies that just are outside the box, those movies they wasn't selling. So we end up in a place where they're giving us what we pay for. Like when Oprah tried to make that movie Beloved, what's it called that? I think it was called that. I actually went and watched that movie, and I thought it was good. I watched that. I thought it was different. It was unique. It had a weird, type of theme to it. It actually was almost on some lightweight Jordan Peele type stuff before Jordan Peele created a whole new genre of Black movies. So, Black supernatural, scary, evil, demonic force movies and stuff like that. He created that genre. That shit everywhere now. But by and large, a lot of times they give people what they know people will buy, but they work hard to also smuggle in agendas. Like Katt Williams and Joe Rogan actually talked about that. He says it's not about entertainment. It's good that we happen to get entertained, but they're really pushing agendas. So there's lots of agendas in there. So go ahead.
But that's kind of my point. I think the giving us what we think we want is merely an incidental byproduct of consuming the agenda. Like we think men in dresses are funny because maybe we've always been shown men in dresses in a comedic light. How many movies can you really count where the man in the dress, was actually out there on a murder spree, like in Silence of the Lambs, right?
Well, hold on. Are you saying it was the man in the dress in Silence of the Lambs?
The serial killer from Silence of the Lambs was a cross-dresser.
Yeah, that's right. That sure was. Yeah. I forgot.
Right, but more often than not, we're not told to fear the man in the dress. We're told that the man in the dress is comedic. It's funny. Ooh. It's Mrs. Doubtfire. He just wants to get closer to your children.
Okay. I see where you're going with that one. That yeah, they present the man in the dress, but the man in the dress is always the funny character that that you end up liking or rooting for, or a bare minimum just getting some good laughs at, or laughs with. Yeah, Silence of the Lamb. They put the man in the dress was the killer. So yeah, that's an interesting observation. That's an interesting observation. So what larger point are you making with that? Are you saying that it's they're planting the seeds of being okay when men start wearing dresses?
Well, it's beyond, the dress thing. Remember, I asked the question, do they give us what we want, or do they tell us what to want? And I'm just sort of filling out the argument. I believe they tell us more what to want. It's more
Yeah.
about telling us what to want than it is about just simply discovering what we like and then supplying that. It's not supply and demand. It's create a vision and sell it.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I definitely see that. I mean, there's implications when you think hard, and I try to avoid reaching when I'm trying to draw
Trying to
parallels with
avoid
these
thinking
movies.
hard.
No, I try to avoid reaching when I think hard. I don't want to be reaching, but there is a there that okay, they gave us stuff, they gave us men in dresses in a comedic way. Were they doing that for a greater reason other than they thought it would be funny? That is still that's something, that's a fair conversation. That's a fair conversation. But yeah, they do by and large put out ideas and agendas are pushed heavy through a lot of things, through a lot of movies. And some, like, movies are getting to the point to where they're getting harder and harder to enjoy, because you could just see what aspect of woke social politics that they're placating to in this particular scene, in this particular movie. Like, it was pointed out in Star Wars that every bad guy that worked with the Empire, or the what they call them, the something order. I forgot the sequel's bad guy's name. The next order, new order, something, whatever. All of them was white guy. Basically, it was all white men. Everybody who worked with the bad guys, but on the good guys side, it was a rainbow coalition of women and men and women of all races, and aliens and weird, wacky, zany characters. Just everything. Like, those were the good guys. The evil, all the bad people were white men, or some dark, evil skinwalker looking thing. So yes, it's like you can't deny the agenda that they putting right in front of your face. Like, you'd be foolish to deny that. So yes, they're not. They try to give you what they think you would pay for, and then push and smuggle their agenda, not even on the back end, right there in your face. But you paid for Star Wars. You got implanted with the idea that white men in power are evil and going to do bad things to everybody. So yes, people push agendas in the movies. So yeah. Let me get to the super chat before you hold on real quick. Super Duper in the building. He says, more big name white male actors put on dress or played El Gibbet than us, but too many of us try to make it a black problem. I think you might be right. I never ran the numbers or did the math on who did it the most, or who who wore it best. I ain't never sat there and done that with the dresses, but I've heard somebody else make that point, that more white men have done it, but black people, talk about it like it's like that's what them doing to us. They do that to us. They only put us in them dresses. But yeah. But anyway, he says, not defending it, but giving reality to the situation. It's a Hollywood thing, period. Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Willa, what did it say? Willa. Okay. I think it's supposed to be William. I don't know. And that 3 and that R at the end of that is throwing me off. But he says predictive programming, though some say that is a conspiracy theory. Yeah, I won't go with conspiracy theory. even though some people, okay, when you reach all the way to ritualistic stuff, and this person who's in the dress is in some weird eyes wide shut ritualistic sodomizing thing, I think that's when it gets into conspiracy theory land. But if you're just making the I think the simpler point, the more concise point that Hood Conservative, touched on, is that yes, there are agendas being pushed, and they're using the movies to push the agendas to try to chart the course of how people's mindset going to be going forward. Yeah, I think that is definitely 100% the case. But Tech Nobility in here again, he says super ancient reference here. After Orson Welles had the country believing that we were being invaded by aliens. I don't know why I feel like that's supposed to be Orlin Welles, but anyway, being invaded by aliens controlling the masses through media was born. After Orson Welles had the country believing that we were being invaded by aliens controlling the masses through media was born. Okay.
Are you familiar with the War of the Worlds psyop?
I've watched War of the World movies and whatnot. So, but explain
No,
to me exactly
no, bro. It's so much deeper. So
Okay,
before
talk to me.
there was actual movies, like the film industry, there was radio, right? So people would sit at home and we would listen to a movie being acted out on the radio, and they had like sound effects and all that shit. And I bet back then, for its time, it was like the coolest thing ever, right? Now, one day, this guy, Orson Welles, he goes on his radio show, and instead of doing like his normal show, which I don't know what his normal thing is, but instead of doing that, he immediately goes into, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you this broadcast. I hate to inform you that America is under siege. We apparently are being invaded by forces from beyond the world. There are reports from Washington, from Atlanta, from Los Angeles that flying saucers have landed and some sort of alien tripods are just destroying the countryside. And then, so it was like that, right? And then he gives you like little news clippings and sound effects. Like, so you're watching, you're listening to this like, oh my God, what the fuck's happening? It's really happening, right? And then at the end of it all, it's a show. It's like, oh, thanks for watching. Tune in next week, guys. So the whole country is in the grips of an alien panic when it's really just a radio broadcast, right? But turns out this was sort of like a test being done to see exactly how the population would respond to these sorts of things. And most people will believe something if you put it on the airwaves.
Nah, I didn't know about that. Yeah, I gotta, as soon as we go up the air, I gotta look up. I gotta do some research on that, because that's interesting as hell. That is very, very damn interesting.
Well, let me clarify a little bit. I don't know for a fact that it was like, the CIA in it, because there was no CIA back in those days, but it was one of those things that kind of stood up as like examples of how powerful media is over the average viewer's mind. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we almost at the 2-hour mark, and I just got, yeah. It's time to wrap this bad boy on up. But listen, shout out to everybody in the building. Do appreciate each and every one of you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. I'm gonna contact you after we get off of here. Shout out to everybody in the building, and make sure you go check out and subscribe to Machismo.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
That said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.